Hey, it's Gus and Luke from VOILÀ.
We're hanging out with Rob from Front Row Live.
What's up, guys? Rob here, Front Row Live Entertainment. I am reunited with VOILÀ, and I'm so excited to be hanging out with you guys.
Cheers, man.
We were talking earlier, and it's been 2 years, and I can't believe it's been that long because all I see is you guys have been grinding nonstop. And, you know, just this year alone, it's just been release after release after release. Talk to me a little bit about just continuing to do this independently and being able to be there for your fans, but also be there for yourselves at the same time.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for having us back.
Yeah.
Two years feels crazy. It feels like yesterday. I can remember every question that you asked. So it's a testament to how good you are. Yeah, being independent, I think, you know, it's one of those things that we don't know any different. So it's hard to really speak to what the label experience would be. But I can say for us, our love comes with the songwriting and the creating the music. I feel like that's what really connects us to what VOILÀ is. And so the ability for Gus and I to decide what we want to put out and when we want to put it out is the most fun that we can have. And I think that's the greatest asset for us to be independent and to be able to put out a song every 3 weeks like we did this year. We're going to do it next year. It's a great promise for us. It's a great promise for our community. And yeah, it keeps us writing, which is what keeps us alive. You know? Yeah.
And I love that you guys are able to focus. Let me rephrase that. I love the fact that you guys are able to remain independent, but it's not affecting your creative process. You're still being as creative, if not more than you were before. And, you know, you can tell when you listen to this music, like your voices are changing so much. There's so many different vocal tones and ranges. The songwriting is changing, the collaborations, the production is changing. Talk to me about like how you guys both feel that you've evolved together within these last couple of years. And is it something that is obvious for you guys, or are you guys like actively like trying to step it up every single time?
I think for me on that perspective, like being able to actually truly be in control of like our music is a really powerful thing, because Luke and I have worked hard to basically enhance our process. Like when you get in the studio for the first time with like a new producer or a new writer or something, it takes a moment to develop that like flow. Do you know what I mean? So for us, we can do things quite quickly now. And in terms of like having a full handle on the production and stuff, sometimes there's that barrier. I've spoken to other artists about it. It's like when you're in a room with a producer, like to communicate exactly how you want it to sound in your head to someone else to then make it is like really hard. But Luke and I have it now where like we will discuss something or like have an idea about a song, and 20, 30 minutes into a session, like we'll get close. And that's really inspiring. And I think that's kind of the reason we start making so much music, is because like when it's that inspiring, and like we tend not to have many bad sessions. Like we discussed this the other day, there wasn't really one we could think of that was like a song that was just crap and like would never come out. So I think that's one of the reasons we tend to be prolific, is because we truly love it. And like honestly, with the community now, one of my favorite things is releasing a song and then hopping into our Discord and watching them react real time. And like sometimes Luke will text me and be like, yo, you got to get in there right now. It's the most inspiring thing. And you're like, damn, all those hours in the studio, like everything is worth it when you see those reactions like in real time. Anything to add?
No, I think that's very well said. Gus is very good about progress. It's something that motivates him quite a lot. I think that to make anything timeless, you just have to do less of it over time, right? So we don't want to add too much to the process. We want to keep exactly what was exciting for us when we first started making songs now, and just keep growing with it.
Going back to that Discord and being able to watch this live, like their reactions live, how do you feel that that's impacted the creative process? Because like you get to see what they really gravitate towards more than what they don't, right? So do you find yourselves kind of switching it up in the studio when you guys are going back to record a new song?
Yeah, you know, that's a really good question. I try to not think so much about that, but more so take the encouragement that people are accepting songs that aren't sounding exactly the same. I think sometimes we'll approach writing a new song and be like, oh, well, this isn't consistent with the other stuff. You know, like on this album, there's some tracks that sound more disco influenced, some more ballads, things like that. And I think that Discord, our community, has accepted all of it because they know it's coming from us. So I'm not so much worried about the consistent sound, and more about just as long as the storytelling is coming from the same spot. And so that really has been, I think, a huge plus to the community responding to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys just wrapped up a tour with Chrissy.
Yeah.
And I love that the three of you basically not only collaborated in the studio, but you collaborated on that stage.
Yeah.
How did that impact your creative process now that you have this like third member of
Yeah.
your group right now? Like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
So like, what was that experience like, especially on this tour?
Right. Well, Chrissy is wonderful. I mean, we love her, and so I think that makes us look a lot cooler. She's an absolute professional.
She's a rock star.
Yeah, I mean, genuinely a wonderful performer, wonderful artist, but also a
Yeah.
wonderful person. She's just unflinchingly kind, and that's been so exciting for us to see someone who's been doing it for so long and who just remains so focused on being such a talented artist and a talented creative, but also just a very kind person through it all. So with our creative process, I mean, we worked on her EP with her. We co-wrote and produced that, and I think it just kind of broadened our horizons in terms of storytelling and making music and thinking, at least for me as a writer, things from the female perspective. I mean, writing every song from the male perspective and flipping it around, I think it's made me approach songs now a little bit differently, and kind of thinking from both sides of the story, you know?
And it was quite refreshing on the production side. So we brought in one of our co-collaborators, this guy Hosu, unbelievable producer. Like I hope you get to talk to him at some point because he has the most amazing insights. Sonics, yeah, let's do it, Hosu. But from the production angle, like Chrissy called and was like, "Hey, would you be willing to like do this project of mine?" And it was honestly a massive honor to get the call. And then also, I basically said, "Can we bring in Hosu? Like, I want to bring in this guy. He's like my favorite. He's the guy we collaborate with most out of anyone in the industry." And basically, like when we came with ideas to Chrissy, we already got to the point where like we felt super inspired by the sonics and like the production, that when we sat in the studio and like I played her ideas and Luke and her were at the back being like trying to get concepts and like trying to figure that out, like it was very rare that she like palmed off an idea, which I think is quite rare for a producer, like to be able to get like a certain level of progress before we've even got the song idea.
Yeah.
And that was really fun for me because it was like, it really felt like we were making a VOILÀ record. Like to me,
cool.
like I had the same like level of flow that where like, as a producer, often you're like, it needs to sound like this and the label wants this and the artist wants this and like they want to tell this story.
Yeah.
You've got a million different things through your head. You're like, shit, can I actually produce
It's hard
this?
to focus,
Right. Whereas with Chrissy, like it felt super in line with what actually inspired us. And I think that was the rare piece of this that made it special. Yeah.
Just to add to that, and it's a word I've said a lot, so I apologize, but she, like us, is less worried about the story that she's telling and more worried about storytelling.
Yeah.
And there's a difference to that. She's just worried about getting the message across as best as you can and not always having a through line that stops you from being creative with the wordplay, being creative with the angle, being creative with the sound. Because there are songs on there that are very different to one another.
Yeah.
But because we worked so hard and talked through all of her emotions and feelings to get those injected into it, that's the consistency.
Yeah. It's cool that you said that because she said the same thing where it's like she loved the fact that it really felt like you guys were all in this together and, you know, working on the storytelling, not just the songwriting, which is like really cool. Like when you feel that in the studio, that's pretty unheard of nowadays. I feel like everybody has their own mentality, mindset, whatever. Like, but that's cool that you guys did that.
Also just this magic element, right? It's
Yeah.
like when you taste something like grandma's cookies, right? She'll say it's made with love. And that's like a real ingredient that you can put in stuff. I feel like there is real magic in this stuff and you can't, it was made with love. It was made with magic and sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. But when we're working with Chrissy, it's always there. Yeah.
Now you guys got to work with her when you guys were working on part 1 of this double album.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, like once after you guys worked together with her and then bounced back to part 2, which is dropping November 22nd, how did that kind of impact your songwriting, for example?
Yeah.
Well, the crazy thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we were actually pretty much done with part 2 by the time we started the Chrissy stuff. We were basically a year ahead, I would say, ish. We had a few that weren't done, but we had them like in demo format where it's like, okay, do we change this pre-chorus? You know, it's like those like final stage decisions versus like early inception type decisions. And Luke and I are always writing, so we always have like a backlog of songs. But I think in terms of like on the Chrissy end, how it's like affected us, I think it's just inspiring. It's like, okay, we took a bit of time to write someone else's project, and we've really never done that. So it's also inspired us to be like, damn, that was such a fun process. Now let's do it and turbocharge it for ours. And also it allowed us to push sonically into places we haven't done. Like there's some drops in the Chrissy stuff that's like heavy, proper heavy. And like, that's really inspiring because Chrissy gave us the freedom to like go there. And like, there's a trap song in it, for instance, which is like a trap rock song, which is one of my favorite ones. It's one of her manager's favorite ones. And that also allows us on a production standpoint to jump back into the VOILÀ stuff and be like, all right, let's push some boundaries now. So I think from my angle, that's kind of what it's affected.
I mean, I can tell you, It's Got a Ring to It, Dancing on Our Graves, and Train of Thoughts were the 3 that came after writing with her. Some of those ideas were stuff that we had talked about while writing hers. And then she actually wrote one of the lines on Train of Thoughts.
Nice.
Yeah. So I think that's really cool that it definitely did influence me as a writer. And I have so much more that I think you're going to see on further projects because she really introduced me to a lot of concepts in mythology, which is like an area of storytelling that I haven't really dove into. And there's some just amazing love stories in there that she's now exposed me to. And there's a lot, like she loves fantasy things. And so do I. But like some of the literature, we're big Harry Potter fans. But some of the stuff that she's turned me on to has definitely changed how I'm going to write going forward.
You mentioned love stories. It's a new topic for you.
Talk
to me. Talk to me a little bit about that. Talk to me a little bit about that and how has that kind of impacted the vocals, but also even like the songwriting and the delivery of these messages.
It's a good question. I mean, I love love stories. I always have. It's something that's like really amazing to me. This album was kind of a quest for me to like explore the concept of like all love gets buried in time. That's something that we did with the album cover with the hourglass. And I don't really have the answer to it yet, but there's comfort in the fact that maybe it does because it makes loss easier and it makes love even more special, knowing that at one time it will get buried. But I think music, being able to write love songs, does make love last a little bit longer. It's kind of like the Helen of Troy effect. We're still talking about that romance because of how big it was and how well recorded it was. And not saying that, glass half empty is the Trojan horse, but
I mean, it could be. But it could be. We'll find out in November.
But there is some love stories buried in the album, and hopefully you can sneak past the wall of all the hopeless romantics that have come to love us, and they'll be able to accept the love songs now.
Also, to jump in on that, I mean, we would never had a moment for someone to propose on stage before,
and now you do,
and we do, and we had 2 of them on this US tour, which was the most insane. Like, I remember seeing it potentially happening in the DMs, and like we connected with whoever wanted to make that moment special. And like the difference between thinking, oh, there's gonna be a proposal, to actually being there and like having a song that someone actually wants to commit that moment to is like the most special thing ever. It's crazy.
I was a wedding DJ in high school and college, and my like dream was to have people have their first dance to one of our songs. Never thought we'd get a proposal. So that was very cool.
Damn.
And in my hometown too, in Milwaukee, that happened. So, I mean, that was career goal done. So I'm kind of retired now. So
basically.
If you have any like odd jobs you need me to do,
I might give it a shot.
Right. I'm kind of off the clock now, mate.
That's hilarious. And like, it's cool because it's like, there's so many opportunities that are happening for VOILÀ lately. And it's not because you're in the right place at the right time. It's because you guys have been working hard for it. And I guess a little bit going back to the sound of this upcoming, part 2 of the album, I kind of listen, at least for the songs that are out right now, I kind of hear a different vocal range for you, Gus. Like, I feel like you've let go a little bit and given me some like grunge in a sense.
Proper.
Talk to me about that. Like you're bringing back stuff that all 3 of us kind of grew up listening to.
See that, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Like, to me, that is, I had Greendale on my wall. Do you know what I mean? Like, my favorite band in the world's Bring Me. And like, to me, super inspired by that era and that scene of music. But at the same time, it's like when Luke and I got started in this, we definitely like wanted to chase something
Yeah.
in terms of like, we wanted to be like Ed Sheeran. We wanted to be like this guy. And I felt like sometimes when we were performing in the early days, it's like we were an act.
Yeah.
And now with what's happening like vocally and like in the songs and the expression of emotion and stuff and where Luke got to in the writing, like from such a vulnerable place.
Yeah.
Like that allows me to be unapologetically myself on stage.
Yeah.
And like these songs now with the raspiness and like the big choruses and stuff, that is us. Like we finally found that place where like on stage now, I don't even think.
Yeah.
Just get up there, let it loose
Yeah.
and like give every single piece of energy we have. And that's the result. So it wasn't really a conscious thing. It was like we ended up there after, what's it been, 6 years? First song 2018, now it ended 24.
Man.
Kind of like you with transparently with this podcast, like you've been grinding for so long and people don't see that. And for us, we've had so many different evolutions and now we land here and finally it resonates.
Yeah.
Finally you have that moment, you're like, oh shit, this actually feels like we might have landed somewhere special now. So that's kind of where my perspective is on where we're at sonically.
Yeah.
It's very inspiring.
And you guys did this on your own. Well, I mean, with the fans as well, but it's like there's no label, there's no other team telling you how to do things, where to do things, when to do things.
Yeah.
Which just makes it even more
I got to shout out Spotify.
Yeah.
Firstly, as like a tech platform, they're amazing. They bring new listeners to our music, which is just obviously the dream of every artist. And then we're working with STEM right now on distribution. They're great.
Yeah.
They're super forward thinking. They never put a block in the way of us when we want to release a song.
That's cool.
They're never like, hey, you need to change that. You need to move that. So that for us is super inspiring to have people on the team that enable us versus like, oh, I'm going to give you an opinion and like delay you because I think this thing.
Yeah, like you should not release every 3 weeks.
Right. And exactly. And we've heard that. To be fair, we've heard that a lot, like from lots of different people. So to be in that place now where we do have team members who allow us to do that, that's really inspiring and allows us to give back to the magicians and the community that like is building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as cheesy as it sounds, I think when you're with a label, that is your boss. When you're independent, your community is your boss.
Yeah.
So whatever the fans want from us is kind of like, that's
What
who
matters.
we report to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we're checking in. That's the feedback.
Yeah.
And that allows us to do slightly different things. I think everybody on the industry side basically warned us that putting a song out every 3 weeks was not a good idea.
Yeah.
Right. They were just burning songs, but our fans weren't overwhelmed. They enjoyed it. So we kept going. I think that, having Chrissy back us to do the co-headline tour was amazing. She's independent. She can make that choice. I think a lot of people said a mixed co-headline set.
Yeah.
It's not common. It's not going to work. So I'm so thankful for her for vouching for us. And I'm so thankful that we were independent and able to do it as well.
Yeah.
Because now that it's sold out, it's kind of like, okay, our boss, the fans said it works. We'll keep doing it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. It just, I mean, you guys are there for each other, and that really makes just this whole experience a lot easier and better for everyone.
Yeah.
The album Glass Half Empty Part 2 drops November 22nd, and then you guys are going to be on tour again for that. So, what can the fans in the UK and like expect on this or look forward to on this tour now that these songs are going to be actually available when you guys perform live?
Yeah, it's exciting for sure. I mean, it's Gus's first hometown show.
Wow.
Which is going to be amazing to witness. He was just there for mine in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for that to be full circle. I think there's a lot of people that we haven't met yet that we've known for now years through Discord and that we've talked to. And it's kind of like a high school reunion, but it's the first time that we get to see them.
Yeah.
We have one of our fans who found us like the week that we released our first single. We're finally going to see which is just, it's wild. So I think, emotionally, I'm really excited to be there. I think it's going to feel very full circle. It's going to feel like a beginning, but also like a conclusion to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'm excited to see the energy. Like Paris is going to be insane. Amsterdam, I've never even been to. So I'm excited about that. The Germany show is going to be mental. I think like I've heard that the European energy, in terms of like the show going energy, is different from an artist perspective. I've obviously been to shows back in England, but for me, from the other end, I think it's going to be chaos and like the best type of chaos. So I'm very, very excited. And we're going to have so many tunes out. We got 8 songs coming out between now and November 22nd. 8 unreleased. So like for us, it's just so busy, but in the best way. And yeah, hometown show. Some of my old mates who've never seen us perform have been like, "What the hell are you doing with this music thing?" You know, like watching from afar, being like, "Oh my god, is this guy still busking?" type thing.
Oh,
so this is gonna be
little do
fun.
they know.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun. We're gonna have a reason to jump around. That's for sure.
Yeah. Gus, I don't mean to put pressure on you, but I got to
No.
agree with Luke and Chrissy that you need to dress up.
Oh my god.
Like,
This.
what's going on?
What, the theme thing?
Yes.
Is it- oh.
What's going on? What's going on?
Rob, I'll dress up if you dress up. The thing is like what you did, what no one saw is like in the studio, okay, when we were doing all these days for the Chrissy project,
Yeah.
they dressed up every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm at the front, right? I'm at the front producing.
And
like,
they brought stuff for you to wear.
I wore like a couple ties and stuff. Like I'll wear the odd piece. Like I'll wear a tie if it's like Harry Potter day
Yeah.
or like one or two things. But in terms of dressing up, I'm a simple man. I like what I like. I like wearing the same stuff. I have like 4 pairs of these trousers. I have like 3 pairs of these shoes. I have a bunch of, my girlfriend makes like clothing.
Yeah.
So like she makes me jackets and stuff.
That's
and
sick.
so that stuff I love. But yeah, I don't think you're going to get me dressing up in like a tutu or anything anytime soon, Rob.
I think there was a moment where when we were writing Caught It and Christina and I were just talking about things like Harry Potter, and it was just a lot of those like jinx, you know? And I think poor Gus, he just realized, oh no, there's 2 of them now.
I'm screwed.
And when we went to
I had one of Luke for ages and now I've got 2.
yeah, the first day of this tour, a lot of my childhood friends are part of our crew.
Yeah.
And it was their first time meeting Chrissy in person.
Nice.
And we went out to dinner the first night. And 2 of my friends at 2 separate times turned to me and go, "So there's 2 of you now?" And I go, "Gus said the same thing." So yeah, that's where all of the outfits are coming from. So
Yeah.
I think that Gus gets a free pass. Yeah.
We'll see
He puts up with a
We'll
lot.
see what Chrissy thinks.
Yeah. It's 2 on 1 too, so I'm screwed.
That's true. That's true.
Absolutely.
Now, I guess to close this off, you guys have been doing nonstop collaborations, which is incredible. We last conversation, I was blown away with all the names you were dropping. And they all happened. And then, last year you guys dropped one with Craig Owens from Chiodos. And that's like one artist that I've always like loved. And Chiodos has always been amazing. They just announced 20th anniversary tour, which is incredible. But like, talk to me a little bit about how this collaboration came about and what was it like co-writing with him as well? Because you guys ended up co-writing too.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a massive fan of everything that Craig has done for years. And then when he did the Drugs project, that record just really melted my face from a writing standpoint and also just from a sonic standpoint. Reached out to him and he was the nicest guy. He's from Detroit. My mom and my family are from Detroit. And so it was really great to like bring the Midwest back into the project a little bit. And he is just such a thoughtful writer, so quick and so it's just an honor. I mean, to be even like having this conversation with you, I mean, like 13-year-old me, like it would just be, we had this conversation about Kellen. I almost want to like watch the old clip. I feel the same way working with all these guys. It's just one of those things that you kind of lay in your high school bed and you go like, one day I'll work with these guys. And then you do it and it's even more wild than you thought it was. I respect those guys so much.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be making music like what we make if it wasn't for them. So for them to share the words that I'm writing is wild. Yeah.
And also on the singing side, like I remember I think he was touring at the time. Do you remember they literally pulled up in the tour bus and he gets out and just rocks up with like a coffee and his sliders, having obviously performed literally the night before, and gets in the studio. I'm like, he should probably be taking care of his voice. Do you know what I mean? And like he has amazing vocal regimen. Like he warms up. He's such a pro. And then he gets on the mic, Rob, and like starts warming up and like singing some of the lines from the song. Yeah. His voice, like in person, unbelievable. Yeah. Like one of the best, actually the best tone I've ever heard, like in person. Like the rasp when he gets to the top end of his voice is so pure, so powerful. He can go so high. It's like unbelievable. So like listening to that again was inspiring for me because I'm like, damn, I got to step up my prep. I got to step up my lessons. But yeah, it was an honor. And nicest guy. Yeah, truly the nicest guy ever, willing to like co-sign us and bring us on tour with him. Yeah, like forever grateful to get his like stamp of approval and, you know, call him and his crew friends now.
I mean, That's exactly what I was going to say. That the phone doesn't just ring. So the fact that he was able to call us and say, "Will you do this tour?" Was our first opportunity. This was our first time playing in front of people, our latest songs, and our first ever tour. We had done support shows, but never in a bus going city to city. And the fact that Craig let us do that with him was such an honor.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Very thankful.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to more from you guys. I'm excited of this evolution that continues to happen with Voila. The part 2 of the album, Glass Half Empty. Part 2, it drops November 22nd. Go back on tour on the 20th. I guess the only challenge I want to give here is when are we going to get Ollie?
That's the dream.
Yeah.
That's the dream. That's like the dream. We got asked a couple times on this tour, like, what's the dream collaboration? And for me, 100% is Bring Me the Horizon. Just a huge inspiration. That's the spirit, like, in terms of that record, like,
Flawless record.
And also from a production standpoint, took the worlds, in my opinion, took the worlds of like rock and electronic production elements and literally put them in a box together for one of the first times ever. Kind of in a way that Linkin Park did, reminiscent in my eyes. And at the same time, that was the inspiration for me as a producer to like, basically for our band to break out and like actually allow energetically where we wanted to be, our music to basically match that. And yeah, Bring Me the Horizon is an absolute dream. And like one day, fingers crossed, we'll make it happen. And he likes some of the music and we'll get on a track. But yeah, that would be a dream, complete dream.
Looking forward to it. We got to make it happen.
Absolutely. I also want to say I'd be remiss if I didn't. You asked a question last interview that we did, and my answer to it was something that our community liked enough that it ended up being the bridge in our song Petals.
No way.
And it was, I said, happy endings are just stories that haven't ended yet.
You did say that.
And you said, whoa, or something.
You did.
And then, we had a couple people on Discord that had started using it. And we're like, you should put that on a shirt. And then we put it in the bridge of Petals. Yeah. And you should so thank you for that.
You should get paid for that too.
Woo! Yeah. I've made it. I've made it.
Yeah. But I thought that was really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I just want to say thanks for having us, man.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. You like believing in us to take the time to do this, and yeah, your show is a platform, and we love the questions you bring and the energy you bring, and yeah,
thanks,
true honor and
I
respect everything you're doing. You're crushing it, and you work so hard. So appreciate it.
1000%.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. We got to keep doing this forever. So
actually, we also put you on a trading card. That's
dude,
be sold.
Things are happening. I got my own Funko Pop. I got trading cards.
Yeah. We it's a news to me. I haven't seen that one. Yeah, no, you have. Yeah. But it's wild. We did trading cards in the US just to try them out, and they sold out, which was great. So we're doing a second edition for Europe.
There we go.
Our last interview was one of the cards. Telling the story about the Petals Bridge.
Let's go.
Yeah. We really appreciate you. That's what we're trying to say. Yeah. Cheers, man.
You guys are awesome, man. Thank you so much for reuniting with me. Guys, be sure to check out Voila. New album drops November 22nd. Tour kicks off November 20th. And thanks for watching here on Front Row Live. Let's do it again next time.
Cheers.